Hey guys, it's me, Mario, and I am so sorry for not uploading for like 3 weeks. I'm so sorry about that. And the first week I went camping, the second week I was sick, and then the third week I was recovering from being sick, so yeah. That's why I haven't uploaded anything in like a month. So yeah. Itchy nose. Today we're going to continue Claw, the giant monkey. You kind of see the reflection of the phone. Chapter 3, Into the Dark Jungle. The next morning dawned clear and still. To Tom's relief, Storm seemed rested and calm after his ordeal in the water. Tom and Elena breakfasted on fresh fish and that Elena caught in the waters of the winding river. Silver bounded away as they ate, returning with another plump rabbit for himself. Time to go, said Tom at last. Elena dozed, tossed the fire, and packed her belongings. Tom knew she was thinking about the beast they were about to face. If he was honest, he was thinking about it as well. What sort of creature would Claw be? They soon found a road which led away from the winding river. As they journeyed on, the valley walls grew steeper and the vegetation more lush. Silver ran ahead as clouds chased each other across the stripes of blue sky above their heads. After a while, the road dwindled to a sudden track, to a stony track. Potholes in places. It was clear that few people came this way. The thought made Tom feel uncomfortable. If the rumors about the dark jungle were true, what chance did they have of defeating Claw and finding the golden chainmail? The stony track began to climb. Panting, Storm strutted up the steep incline. Silver padded quietly by his side. The sun beat down hard on Tom and Elena's backs. The air felt close. The trek ended abruptly as they reached the top of the hill. Before them lay a sea of green trees. It stretched as far as the horizon. The dark jungle, Elena said in awe. It's bigger than I'd imagined. The jungle was vast. Above the trees, the air shimmered with heat. The only way down to the jungle's edge was the was straight across a marshy stretch of ground. Mosquitoes whined through the air. Storm flickered his ears as the insects started into bite where they could. Tubbs's heart raced with a mixture of fear and excitement as he clicked his tongue and urged Storm forward. Patting at the insects, they struggled on the edge of the jungle. Soon they were facing a dense wall of trees. Strange screeching sounds could be heard high in the canopy. The air was still and expectant. The air was still and expectant. I don't like this, Elena murmured. Tom could feel Storm tensing beneath him. He shifted the shield on his arm, bringing it close to his chest. Silver was pacing uncomfortably, his tail low and his ears flattened to his head. It was impossible to ignore the feeling of menace that surrounded the dark jungle. Taking out Eldor's map, Tom studied it once more. The golden dot of the chainmail had moved again. Now it looked very close to where they were standing. Tom squinted through the trees. "We have no choice, Elena," he said, rolling up the map. "We have to go in. We need to defeat all the beasts and collect every piece of the golden armor before we can rescue Eldor." Dogs. He swallowed. "We have to rescue him," he said, firmly, and urged Storm forward. The four questers took their first steps into the dark jungle. Tom immediately noticed the stiffly heat. It was hard to breathe, and he felt the pressure on his lungs. Storm shook his head and nervously, while Silver growled softly. Fleshy jungle plants hung all around them. The air was thick and sticky with their strange and powerful scent. "We have never seen plants like these," Elena said in wonder. She stretched out her hand to touch a red trumpet-shaped flower. Immediately the flowers snapped. Closed, and before Elena could react, snake-like tendrils wrapped themselves around her arm. "Tom!" she shrieked. Tom pulled out his sword and slashed the tendrils away. "Touch nothing," he warned. Glancing around, he he half expected to see Malwell himself laughing from the treetops. The air grew thicker and darker as they pressed on, and the ground became wetter. Soon Storm was wading cautiously through the dark. Stinking water, his hooves sliding in the mud, his nostrils flaring at the unfamiliar scents. It's okay, Tom soothed and stroked his horse's mane. Why am I losing my voice? I shouldn't do that. Halfway across the swamp, Tom dismounted. He did not want to be responsible for Storm sinking into the uncertain ground. Elena did the same and pressed ahead with Silver. The water was unpleasantly warm and sucked at his legs. Gritting his teeth, Tom took Storm's reins and led the stallion gently onwards. His eyes darted around, checking for signs of the beast. No, excuse me again. Elena was waiting for them on the far side of the swamp, Silver at her side. She was cutting away the leeches which had attached themselves to her flesh. Then she did the same before Tom and Storm. They moved on, wet and tired. At last they emerged into a sun-dappled open space. A group of chatting monkeys suddenly swung down from the vines. Silver barked furiously, and Storm reared in surprise. Tom and Elena dived on the jungle floor in fright. "Stay down, Elena," Tom said, reaching for his sword. Gibbering among themselves, the monkeys settled in a tree and began grooming each other sheepishly. Tom and Elena got to their feet. "That's the first and last time I'm ever going to be scared of a monkey," said Elena with a nervous laugh. They moved on, Tom using his sword to slash through the damp tree undergrowth. Suddenly Elena stopped. "Look," she said, pointing at a series of deep gashes in the tree trunks. "Something has happened here," Tom said slowly, inspecting several huge chunks gouged out of the undergrowth. Torn branches littered the ground. Storm gave a high anxious whine. Elena picked up something limp and tattered. "A strip of linen," she said, turning it over in her hand. There were several more strips of clothes scattered across the clearing. Tom and Elena looked at each other. Even after facing 7 beasts, the sight of such destruction was unsettling, and the torn linen suggested something more sinister than ever before. Tom took the piece of cloth. What could have done this? He said. Just then, they heard a rustling behind them. Tom and Elena rolled around as a claw that was bigger than both of their heads swiped at them while from high up in the trees. It was attached to a long, furry tail. Tom pushed Elena out of the way, and they tumbled to the ground. A chill settled on Tom's heart. It was the beast, and now the beast knew they were here. That was chapter 3. Here's Elena getting saved by Tom from the vines. Here's some monkeys in the treetops. Them goofing around, I guess. And there's the claw swiping at them from the long furry tail. And that was all the pictures in that chapter. You can pause the video if you want to see the pictures in greater detail. But yeah, that was Beast Quest Claw the Giant Monkey, chapter 3. And I hope you guys subscribe and hit the bell and all that good stuff. And I hope I will see you in the next video. Alright. Bye-bye. Hope it is next week. I am so sorry for not doing videos for like a month or so. I am really sorry about that. But yeah, I was busy and all that, so you guys will understand. Everyone is busy during the week and all that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Hopefully next week. I can't promise that though. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.